Evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm the host for South Carolina Weather, Jesse Peterson, and let's talk about the weather for your Monday evening. Now, looking at the radar right now, obviously, with we're looking at the Columbia radar. The Charleston radar today, just because not a lot's going on inside the upstate. Nothing's going on really in the Midlands. It's really down here inside of the Charleston radar. We have a huge flash flood warning that just got issued that goes all the way from just to the west of Moncks Corner, parts of Charleston County as well, going through Harleyville, Ridgeville, Somerville, Lincolnville, through Walterboro as well, Edisto Beach, Kiowa Island, Hollywood, Folly Beach, all the way through these areas. We do have flood warnings going on. You may have got the alert on your phone. I'm not quite sure. I know some people did, some people did not. But here is the whole thing that's causing it right here. You see this entire rain band right there. That's what's causing this just entire flash flood warning, and this is gonna cause I'd say around 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches an hour, and it expires at around 2:45 in the morning. So pretty much close to 2 to 3 inches of rain an hour. That is very, very dangerous conditions in terms of flash flooding. Very, very dangerous conditions, and that's why that flash flood warning was issued, because streets can flood easily, low-lying areas can flood easily, poorly drainage areas can flood easily, and that's why that they added that. And also gusty winds as well are also happening with this as well. And not only gusty winds, but also if you look, I think there's a water spout as well. Water spouts is also a concern as well. So honestly, I would not be surprised if this does try to move inland and tries to cause tornado warning. So everyone inside the tornado watch region, pretty much everyone inside this entire region right here, and circle all the way up here, needs to be watching for any type of a tornado development as well as that moves on shore. But that's pretty much all that I have for the South Carolina radar. In terms of flooding, we do have isolated showers that goes all the way from Augusta, Orangeburg, Manning, Georgetown, Myrtle Beach, and Conway as well. And let's go on and continue talking about the entire United States. Here it is right here, the MRMS. The MRMS right now is really just showing some pretty active conditions in terms of the United States. Up here inside the Northeast, we're receiving a bunch of rain, flood conditions as well. Even inside of southeastern Maine, we're seeing some rain as well, some storms as well just off the coast. Flooding conditions are also possible up here near like New York City as Tropical Storm Debby moves all the way up towards there. We do have a chance for flooding up there. Flood watches going all the way up into North Carolina. Do have tropical storm watches up for pretty much the coastal regions in Berkeley County. We also do have tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches up there for places just like Illinois, Iowa. Flood watches going up for places like Wisconsin as well. And severe weather is also possible going from Idaho, Montana, showers from Wyoming, even Utah, and the Four Corners region as well, going down even into Mexico as well. The only place that's really not receiving too much activity is probably like around like the central U.S. or the far western United States. Let's talk about cloud cover. Cloud cover right now is honestly as you would expect. Cloud cover is covering most of South Carolina, except for that very far northwestern or upstate region of South Carolina. Very, very heavy rain is falling again towards like the coast, and that's why we have heavier clouds down there. And as you continue on, you can also see our cloud cover for the future as well. As you push this forward, you can see that cloud cover will continue to build. Cloud cover will continue to dominate all of South Carolina, even as we move into tomorrow. It's just going to be a cloudy next couple of probably days inside of South Carolina for most people. In terms of current temperature, 75 in Columbia, 77 in Charleston, 79 in Savannah, 77 in Beaufort, 79 in Myrtle Beach, 75 in Florence, Sumter, Rock Hill, 77 in Greenville, Anderson, Spartanburg, 75 in Union. Low temperatures for tonight around 74 in Columbia, 76 in Charleston, 78 Hilton Head Island, 76 in Myrtle Beach, 74 Cheraw, 72 in Rock Hill, 71 in Spartanburg, 72 in Rock Hill, Anderson, Greenwood, 73 inside of Aiken as well, and 74 inside of Orangeburg. Now, this is probably the most amount of rainfall that I have probably seen on the forecast precipitation map for the next 24 or so hours. 10 to 15 inches of rain is possible from Charleston, Walterboro, going into places like Allendale as well. North Charleston going all the way up towards the Somerville region as well. 10 to 15 inches of rain. 6 to 8 inches of rain possible in Moncks Corner, Kingstree, Barnwell as well. 4 to 6 inches of rain for Georgetown, Sumter, Orangeburg. And then we have around 2 to 3 inches of rain possible for Myrtle Beach, Florence, Camden, Columbia, Aiken. And then 1.5 to 2 inches possible in Dillon, 1 to 1.5 inches in Cheraw, Winsboro. And then maybe even a half an inch to an inch in Newbury. And then 1/10 of an inch to a quarter of an inch for Greenwood and Rock Hill. Other places like a trace to around 1/10 of an inch, or maybe even no rain is possible, even if you're up there inside the upstate. But that's pretty much what's going on in terms of for the next, I'd say like for the next 24 hours. But there's also for the next 3 or so days as well. Here it is for the next 3 days. You can see 10 to 15 inches of rain from Walterboro, Moncks Corner, going all the way up towards Georgetown, Kingstree, Florence. 8 to 10 inches for the next 3 days for Myrtle Beach. 20 inches possible in Charleston. Maybe even for like the eastern part of Charleston as well. 20 to 30 inches are possible as well. And it's pretty much like a sharp gradient cut, I'd almost say. It goes from very, very intense over here to the eastern side, and then as you move farther up towards the upstate, it gets more and more just calmer and not really any rain at all. So that's pretty much most of it in terms of rain. That's pretty much the totals that you will see through the next 3 days. This goes all the way to Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. And let's move on and talk about the SPC outlook, which is I was just talking about tornadoes, and we still do have that slight risk of severe weather. That does include pretty much most of pretty much the entire low country of South Carolina, going all the way up towards Georgetown, in Williamsburg County, going down into Georgia, near like Savannah, Brunswick, Georgia as well. And again, this comes with a 5% chance of tornadoes. And as you move into tomorrow, there's another marginal risk of severe weather that again has a 2% risk of tornadoes, isolated tornadoes possible for pretty much most of the low country of South Carolina again. And then as you move into day 3, it's still not over after that either, because we have a marginal risk of severe weather that goes for, again, like eastern portions of Charleston County, going all the way up for coastal portions of Georgetown and Horry County as well, like the Myrtle Beach region. So that's pretty much everything in terms of severe weather. Next up, let's talk about excessive rainfall. This is again something that I have been talking about for a long time, just because excessive rainfall is definitely the most pushing factor in terms of this entire system in general. Go through tonight, we do have a high risk of excessive rainfall. This is possible for catastrophic flooding. Is possible going in for places like Savannah, Beaufort, Hampton, Colleton. As we go through tonight, moderate risk that goes through Charleston, North Charleston, Mount Pleasant, all the way through the entire Tri-County region up into Georgia. Slight risk goes from Augusta all the way over to Myrtle Beach. Marginal risk goes from like just to the south of Greenwood through Columbia, Florence as well. But as we move into tomorrow, that is another thing to talk about, because we do have a high risk for pretty much that goes all the way from Georgia up into the entire low country of South Carolina through Myrtle Beach, Conway, Loris. Life-threatening, catastrophic flooding is possible as we move into tomorrow. So everyone has to be paying attention, especially, again, low country and PD regions. Everyone in those regions have to be paying attention for any type of flooding going into tomorrow. Even into day 3, Wednesday, Charleston, North Charleston, Mount Pleasant, up all the way through the entire Tri-County, all the way into Myrtle Beach, Florence, places like that. More catastrophic rain is possible on Wednesday. Thursday, I mean, it's not really any better. Still a moderate risk, and plus a high risk can't even be issued for days 4 and 5, just because they're just too far out to forecast. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a high risk issued, but it just seemed like a moderate risk, and then a slight risk and a marginal risk surrounding that going all the way into the upstate. Day 5, bit more of a cool down type period, marginal risk of excessive rainfall that goes through pretty much the entire state, but a slight risk of excessive rainfall still in effect for Greenville all the way over towards Rock Hill. So that's pretty much everything in terms of excessive rainfall. I mean, we still do have that entire system to really break down, to really just see where it's going to go, because wherever it goes, that will determine which places get the most amount of rain. And we will talk about that actually in just a second. But first, let's talk about the future, or the near term future, for the next 48 or so hours and see what's happening there. As we push this forward, as we go into around 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock actually, honestly, models were not really too certain, I guess, on where that extra rain band might be. But actually, I'm going to move on to the 23Z instead. We're going to go a bit shorter, just because it's more up to date. But you can see that heavy rain moves into like low country of South Carolina. By the time you to around 10, 11 o'clock, it's going to be steady downpours throughout pretty much the entire region. And then as you push even into around 7 o'clock in the morning, still heavy rain pushing through these regions. And then maybe get a little break, but again, that it will pretty much try to spread a bit more northern towards like Columbia, Orangeburg, Manning, Florence, up and towards Myrtle Beach, as well as more areas go up there. So again, still watching for even flooding more inland as well, not just towards the coast or the immediate coast, or just off the coast. So that's pretty much everything in terms of models. You can also look at wind gusts as well if you really want to look at that. Just pretty much wind gusts for like the next, I'd say like the next 18 or so hours, just to see what they show. The yellows and like the oranges are kind of like 60 to 70 miles an hour. The purples are kind of like 30 to 40 miles an hour or so. And I mean, again, just gusty conditions for pretty much this entire region right here. Just has to watch out for 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60 mile per hour winds as we move through even tomorrow. And the main wind threat is actually probably going to be somewhere, I'd say around Wednesday, Thursday-ish, I'd say. So that's pretty much everything in terms of that. Now let's really start to talk about the tropics, and let's talk about Tropical Storm Debby. Right now, potential historic heavy rainfall across southeast Georgia and the coastal plains of South Carolina through Saturday morning will likely result in areas of catastrophic flooding. Heavy rainfall will likely result in considerable flooding impacts from portions of central and northern Florida and across portions of central and northeastern North Carolina through Saturday morning. Dangerous storm surge and tropical storm conditions will spread northward along the southeastern United States coast from northeastern Florida to North Carolina through the middle of the week. Storm surge and tropical storm watches and warnings have been issued for portions of these areas. Residents in the storm surge watch and warning should follow any advice given by local officials. In portions of Florida where Debby has passed, deadly hazards remain. Down power lines in flooded areas. Ensure that generators are properly ventilated to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Exercise caution when using chainsaws and power tools, and drink plenty of water to avoid heat exhaustion. So all of that you have to worry about, especially if you do lose power and you have a generator and you lose power, you have to make sure that you put your generator like not in like a closed area, like a garage or something like that. Also try to keep it as far away from your house as possible. I mean, if that's not possible, then that's just not possible. But I would try to get it as far from the house as possible, because that could start something. Maybe it could. I'm not gonna say like catch on. Well, it could catch on fire if something happens with it, and it could result in spreading towards your house. So that's why you might want to keep it far away from your house as you possibly can. So that's pretty much everything in terms of Tropical Storm Debby. We also do have another area of interest that we're watching for as well down here, Disturbance 1. Pretty much just showers and thunderstorms associated with the tropical wave located over the eastern Caribbean Sea remain disorganized. Any development of the system should be slow to occur during the next couple of days while it moves westward over the eastern and central Caribbean Sea. Environmental conditions are also expected to become more conducive for development later this week. So around 10% chance of this thing forming in the next 48 hours, 30% chance in the next 7 days. So let's go and let's talk about the long-term models. Let's see what they have to say. And we're going to look at multiple as well. But we're going to first look at the GFS first. This is the one that I think most people really aren't like. People like are kind of taking this one as probably the least likely one, honestly. As it kind of turns around and goes back towards Georgia and Alabama. I don't really think that that's going to happen at all. So honestly, I mean, just as that heads out, I don't really think a lot's really going to be happening there. So if we go past this one, we're going to go to the Euro one instead. This one's a bit more kind of accurate. As you continue to push this one forward, this becomes like a 992, 989 millibar hurricane, and honestly, this could try to become Category 1, Category 2 hurricane and hit somewhere near the Myrtle Beach region as we move into August the 8th, Thursday. So we're watching for possible hurricane landfall for places like Myrtle Beach as we move through to Thursday. So we're going to watch that, and then it's going to kind of go up towards the north, all the way up towards North Carolina, bringing tropical storm force conditions up there, and then it will pretty much leave us alone after that. So honestly, I mean, it's possible because I talked about this yesterday. If this does turn into a Category 2 hurricane, it will hit South Carolina stronger than it did hit Florida. And that's obviously a possibility because it hit Florida as a Category 1. More people could lose power in South Carolina because of this. It's not out of the question at all. As we push this forward, though, this is the Icon model. This is not the European. It has a very more, honestly, I'd say a very worst case scenario. This is a worst case scenario. This has close to a major hurricane coming towards the Myrtle Beach region as we get into August the 8th. Definitely winds, honestly, wind gusts getting close to 100, honestly, near the North Carolina border. North Carolina, South Carolina border. I saw that kind of earlier while I was looking at some model runs. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen unless it does, but there's like a small chance that happens. That was just one model run, so I don't want everyone to be going around saying that, oh, well, 100-mile-an-hour winds is about to hit here. This is just one model run. Things are going to change. This could be stronger. This could be weaker. We just don't know quite yet. We just got to get the final. We're just going to have to wait maybe till, like, I'd say tomorrow evening, maybe even Wednesday morning to really get a final just determination of what this thing is going to do. And then it's going to pretty much do the same thing, become a tropical storm, go up towards North Carolina, and exit off that way. So that's pretty much everything in terms of that. In terms of, I can also show this as well. This is the kind of like Ventusky right here. This is where you can use for like winds and all that kind of stuff. And we're actually going to go towards Myrtle Beach now. No, that's Seaside. But over here towards Myrtle Beach, I'm going to click on it, that right there. In terms of wind gust, as we push this forward, we're going to go back to here. Going through towards Tuesday, and looking at already 55 mile per hour wind gust already going through the Myrtle Beach region, towards like the Charleston region, around 30 miles an hour, Goose Creek, Somerville region, 50 mile per hour wind gust going into tomorrow. And then as you move to around 10 a.m., those will definitely increase to around 41, Myrtle Beach 45, Georgetown, maybe even close to 60 at Charleston, 50 Orangeburg, close to 60 near like Allendale regions. And then around 5 o'clock, these will again try to keep on going, but I really want to continue because even as we get into around Tuesday night, 11 p.m., Myrtle Beach already getting 60 mile per hour winds already. 46 over here near Georgetown, 47, 46. As we move kind of into Wednesday, let's go to around 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. Already seeing 60, 70 miles per hour already go through the Myrtle Beach region, or the North Myrtle Beach region, I should say. 2 o'clock Wednesday, kind of pretty much showing the same thing. And then as we get through, this is the main part that I want to watch right here. Do you see this entire just huge, just monster of a storm just to the south and east of Myrtle Beach right here? Continue to move this forward through to around 12 o'clock in the morning. 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts already occurring near Myrtle Beach. 72 north Myrtle Beach, 54 inside of Conway, and then as we move to around 5 o'clock in the morning, around 66 in Wilmington, 90 inside of Myrtle Beach, 88 inside of North Myrtle Beach, 75 inside of Conway, and then continuing to move to around 9 o'clock in the morning. Pretty much it continues the same thing as it moves on shore. So very, like I said, very dangerous conditions if this does become true. Let me make that clear. If this does become true, this could definitely cause a lot of damage if this does become true. So I think that that's all in terms of hurricane stuff that I have. I pretty much showed all the models. Everyone pretty much from Charleston all the way up in towards even North Carolina, I'd say, definitely needs to be watching this system closely because this thing could take a turn at any moment, or it could just go off and it might not impact us as bad as we think that it might. But that's pretty much all in terms of that. Let's go and let's check on the audience. I have not seen any chats yet, so this is going to be a complete surprise to me at what in the world happens. So here's the chat right here. Moving on over here towards the chat. Mr. Oliver says, good evening. Lots of rain here. Yes, lots of rain. I will actually talk about rain totals in just a second. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, JP. Good evening. My cousin says, hi, Joseph. Hello. My aunt says, hello, Jay. Hello. Animal38891 said, hello. How are y'all? I'm doing fine. Hopefully the chat is doing fine as well. And then we have a bunch of emojis down here at the bottom for my cousin. So, I mean, like I said, we're still going to have a lot to figure out. We still have a lot to talk about and a lot to still discuss. So hopefully we can get all of that figured out. Hopefully by tomorrow or maybe even the day after that, the day before. So if you guys have not started preparing already, I would have definitely started that a while ago, especially at the coast and especially near the Myrtle Beach region as well. So that's pretty much that. Let's go and let's talk about our Raleigh and San Antonio forecast. Then we'll talk about rain totals for South Carolina as well, because I do want to just go over rain totals as well. But I do want to get the San Antonio Raleigh forecast out of the way. And then we'll talk about rain totals for like the next 48 or so hours for South Carolina. Just with different models, it doesn't have to be like all mixed together. Just seeing what different models say and what if they align with each other or not. So if you're in South Carolina, don't leave quite yet. But here is the radar, and we're gonna actually move to the 18Z instead. Here's the 18Z, and then as you move into around 8-9 o'clock, again, not really watching for much in terms of rain for San Antonio at all. Not really much. And then in terms of temperatures, I'm going to move my way up here. And as we wait for this to load, if you guys have not hit the like button, hit the subscribe button yet, please make sure that you guys do so. Because as we will be covering this thing or trying to update on this thing every single chance that I can get. And as we get into tonight, low temperatures around 76-ish. Tomorrow, high temperatures around 100. Tomorrow night, low temperatures around 76. And then around 98 going into Wednesday for around your afternoon hours. That's pretty much that in terms of temperatures. In terms of And in terms of Raleigh up here, move this up. And then as we push this forward, low temperatures tonight around 72-ish, high temperatures tomorrow around 82, low temperatures tomorrow around 75-ish, and then high temperatures going into around the low 80s going into Wednesday. So that's pretty much everything in terms of that. In terms of rainfall, obviously with that whole tropical system probably going to try and pass you. Let's see, this is August the 9th. So that's Friday. So the system will probably try and pass you like late Friday, early Saturday. But here is the precipitation rates. Not really much for tomorrow morning, but as we get to around tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, steady rain will try to push its way through. And then as you get into even all the way into Wednesday as well, still some rain possible through there. So that's that. In terms of severe weather, let's talk about any type of excessive rainfall for both areas. In terms of both San Antonio and Raleigh going forward today, nothing for both of you guys tonight, but Raleigh does have a minor risk of flooding going into tomorrow. Wednesday, Raleigh does have a slight risk of excessive rainfall. Scattered flash flooding is possible in Raleigh going into Wednesday. Thursday, Raleigh has probably Raleigh's biggest chance of receiving flash flooding is Thursday, with a moderate risk of excessive rainfall. Dangerous flash flooding is possible, and then Friday as well, with a slight risk of excessive rainfall and scattered flash flooding being possible. So that's pretty much that. Let's go and let's talk about the rain totals. Just check out different models just to see what they have in terms of both. Here's the total precipitation thing right here. And right now, pretty much just showing just a whole swath of rain going all the way from around 8 to 10 inches or so, going for most of South Carolina. Again, this is 48 hours, so this doesn't go all the way out towards Thursday and Friday. Up here towards Myrtle Beach, around 6 to 7. Conway up here towards 6 to 7 inches. Over here towards like Lincolnville, South Carolina, around 6 inches. Charleston around 6 to 7 for the next 48 or so hours. Beaufort around 10 inches. Walterboro around 7 inches. Hampton around 9 inches. Columbia up here towards 3 to 4 inches. And again, up here in the upstate, not really much to really comment on up there. But that's pretty much all that I have in terms of today, in terms of just as a forecast update. I think we've about covered everything. If you guys do have questions, please do not feel bothered to ask. Also, we did just get a tornado warning down here as well for portions of Charleston County and Colleton County as well. I was just talking about the tornado threat for the low country of South Carolina not even too long ago, around 30 minutes or so ago. So tornado warnings are definitely something that you're going to have to watch out for as these bands move in. So if you get put under a tornado warning, make sure to take cover inside the most interior room of your house with no windows and on the lowest floor. But that's all that I have. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Monday evening, of your busy Monday evening. And I will be back hopefully tomorrow morning with another. Hey, yeah.